Welcome back to Apex Alchemy. The top knife you see here is no stranger to the channel. If you're used to watching us, this is the Chaves 229. It's not stock. It was a Blade HQ exclusive, and Dave did the scale on it. Did a wonderful job on the scale of it. The contour titanium, and I love everything about this knife. Now, I wasn't crazy about it at first, but
right.
Anyway, don't want to go back into the spiel of that. We have dozens of videos on this knife, I think. Or at least 8 dozen probably that features the knife. But this is a 228 that Mateo sent us. So this is the American version, and I'm gonna see if I can't like focus in on this right here. Yeah, Chaves American made. So it's a CAMK, Chaves American made knives. I don't know if it's a custom or a mid-tech or how that works with when it comes to Chaves. But it's going to be the American version of this 229. It's a little shorter. I think it's 8 inches, even if you don't count the backspacer. I think this is an aftermarket backspacer. Mateo sent me a link to a company that makes things that are similar, like backspacers that are similar to this. So I think that's where he got it. Love the pocket clip on this knife. Like in comparison, with it being just a tad bit smaller of a knife when it comes to length, because it's not smaller when it comes to width. I'm going to get the calipers, and just so we can go over that when we need to. But the pocket clip's just much bigger. You know, it's elongated more, and the skull's bigger.
Yeah, it takes up more, like pretty much the whole area here instead of a small portion of it.
And it doesn't have the sharp edges that the 229 has. They are sharper, and they're not softened as much as, like, say, as this knife is now, but it's not as sharp edged as the original 229 when we got it in, you know. And like the 229 is made by Riot. Just to put that out there, that is it's made in China. This knife, being American made, when you start looking for them, I think Mateo said this was a $1,200 knife, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. I started looking for them on Arizona Custom Knives. There's nothing available as of right now, but all the recent sellings we're talking, 13 to 17 hundred dollars. So I like both of the knives. So the focal point of this video is going to be really, I guess, just the differences and how I feel about the differences overall. Of course, you got a much superior, much more robust build with the 228 than you do that 229. But I don't. Let's go into some of that robustness with the calipers here. We are zeroed. Okay, so let's go with the height of the handle. I believe we're going to see a little bit of difference here. So it's a little over an inch at an inch and a tenth. The height and the handle, a little over an inch, well, like 1.03 inches there. So not much difference in the height. And with this having a contour scale, that is going to add a little bit of girth that wasn't there on the original. Yeah. Just a tad over a half an inch on this specific model. It's like I said, aftermarket scale. And 0.60 on this one. So what was this one? 0.54?
5.6, I think.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Let's yeah. I guess it's the same. It don't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same at all. But
no, maybe it's because of the rounded.
I bet it is because of the contouring. Like this just feels like a brick in comparison to the contouring on this one. But it is the same width at the thickest points, like from, like, say, here to the top of that contour. The blade thickness, there's definitely a difference. And kind of like on the hinder.
What area?
There's fine. 0.18. So we're looking at a 3/16 inch blade stock here. And that's 0.15. So you're looking at, yeah, 1/5. I believe that's 1/6. Oh, I could be wrong. Let's see.
Go back to inches or
break it back down to 1.15. 5/30 seconds. Yeah, that'd be about a 1/6. I like to do that just so Dave can laugh. Anyway, he probably gets sick of it. Got a much bigger pivot and a thicker blade stock. And when you're holding this knife, you can definitely tell you're holding something that's superior. You know, like the quality, but like with the hinder, you got, you know, like when it comes to the jimping and the edges are smoothed. You know, like there's nothing like too abrasive about holding the knife.
And what I found interesting, as far as the jimping goes, it feels smoother. Like when you just run saw play across, like this is much more jagged.
Yeah.
But this catches better than this rougher jimping to me.
The American catches better than the Chinese?
Yeah, to me. Even though it feels like it's smoother and should glide across easier, it's actually grippier.
Right. And as far as the blade length goes, this is where you're gonna just lose just a little bit. You're losing just a little bit of blade, and I think in terms of heightness and in terms of it'd be a little bit of heightness and length lost, but a bare minimum amount really. We got a 3.5 inch blade with a 3 1/4 inch cutting edge on a 228. With the 229, we have a
3 1/4.
Wow. Okay, 3 3/4 inch blade with almost a 3.5 inch cutting edge. So the cutting edge on this knife is almost the same as the entire blade length there, but it's minimal. Okay, so this is just my personal opinion. I'm gonna have to throw out there just because, you know, like I do like this knife, and I would be a proud owner if this knife was mine. But as far as carrying it goes, like I don't have a problem carrying this knife at all. It is well made. It's rugged. There's no side-to-side play on the pivot, even though the pivot, like, you know, it's smaller. That doesn't matter. That's going to be a tolerance thing, right? You know, like how tight is that hole around that pivot? It could technically be a needle, but like this one's very solid as well, and I can see where the premium is, especially now that the Riots. When I was shopping around for some used Riots, and I'm seeing price tags of $475 and $5 1/4. When we bought this knife, it was $245, I think, right?
Something like that. So $230 somewhere.
I would say at the original price of like $230, $245 or whatever that we gave for this knife about 1.5 years ago, that I would prefer this knife over this knife, dollar for dollar. You know,
right.
Like dollar for dollar, I would take this knife over this knife. But if we're jumping up to a $500 range for a Riot versus a $1,300 American, then I would just as soon have the American myself. Like and like the finger choil here, it's not like you ain't got much of a finger choil there, but it does give you a little bit better access to the lock bar, and it's smooth. It's just a nice place where, you know, that just your finger just disappears into. So like holding the knife is a little bit different than holding this knife, but I must say Dave did a pretty good job on the finger choil on this knife as well. You know, like I've got plenty of access to the lock bar, but like this, I would try to judge this knife without the scale on it.
Right.
You know, I'd have to put the other scale on there, and I don't feel like doing that. You know, it was just a flat G10
very flat
scale.
G10 with very sharp edges,
and I hated it. But the way this knife is now, I'm definitely.
There's no way you want to pay $500 to $600 for the one the way it came.
No, even if it was full tie with the same size scale as the G10 scale that come with it, I wouldn't want to give $500-$600 for it myself. Now, I don't, like I said, man, I'm not sure if this is a mid-tech or custom and how all that stuff works. This is a version 2. From the best of my abilities, I can't, Mateo told me exactly what kind of steel was in this knife, and I forgot. I couldn't find it in the text messages, so it may have been on a phone call.
And it ain't on
It's
it anymore.
unmarked, probably come with information on a certificate of
box.
authenticity or something like that. But from everything I can tell, when you see them on Arizona Custom Knives, everybody says unknown. If you look it up on Blade HQ, it says stainless steel. Like, so it's like, it doesn't seem to be a very highly advertised steel type, you know, that was created with that was used in the Americans. This is M390, so we know exactly what to expect. This knife, I'm sorry.
It was just kind of funny. I was like, well, you don't know what it is. All you can do is judge it on how well it works for what you're using. You can't complain about a heat treat. You can't complain about nothing.
I kind of like that, you know, like
right.
I thought the blade was completely unmarked, you know, until I saw the Chaves American made on the spine there, and I was like, I like that. Like I think that's like something I would like to. You know, we were practicing with marking the knives and stuff. I think I'd rather just send a piece of paper with all the information on there, you know, along with the knives that I make. You know, I'm just brainstorming there. But okay, so I did find one version 2 for sale that claimed it had S35VN, and that may be what this one is. I don't know. I can't remember. I think Mateo may have told me that vocally, because when I was going back through the text messages, I couldn't find it. I don't want to bother him again. But Mateo, very much appreciate you letting me borrow this knife, man. It has been a pleasure. It's got extremely good action. I don't know if it's on bearings or washers. It doesn't even matter. It feels like a tank. And I very much enjoyed, you know, using it. When this knife come out,
I only stabbed Billy a few times with the backspacer.
He did. Yeah, she did. Yeah. When this knife come out, like, it was in direct competition with the Chris Reeve, Sabenza, or in this case, the Biddy and Cozy, and I could see, you know, like how like they feel pretty similar in quality. I guess the biggest difference here, besides the visuals and the weights and stuff like that, and we'll go over the weights here in 1 second, but like, is you can pick this knife up for about the same price as what this is going for now. You know, for $500 you can get it in Cozy, and you got more materials here. So if that's something that matters to you, it's a beefier knife, and it feels the hand better. And I enjoy that aspect, but I also love carrying the Cozy, right? Mm-hmm. Where you could have 2.5 Cozys for the price of one American Chaves, and they're hard to get a hold of. They're rare. You know, like, they're not, and I think they're just getting rarer because I believe all of his knives, and I may be wrong here, y'all, so correct me if I am, but I believe all of his knives are being made by Riot now. And that's just something I read on the internet. That does not mean it's true. I don't want to regurgitate bad information. I haven't talked to Raymond. Now, Mateo's got an excellent relationship with Raymond. He used to live next door to Raymond, something like, you know, or right down the street or something like that. So like, they knew each other, like, you know, on a first name basis, and I think that's really cool. And by God, if this was my neighbor, you know, I would definitely have some too. You know, like,
thumb studs are different. I just now noticed that.
Oh yeah, thumb studs are different.
Like, they're more rounded and crowned.
Yeah.
Like, smoothed off. More machining done on thumb studs.
Yeah, every aspect of this knife should be more refined than this knife. You know, absolutely. And, you know, I would say, you know, I mean, this is at least a mid-tech, which means that Raymond probably still had his hands on it at some point. What that means to you is
what it means
just
to,
that.
Yeah.
Raymond's had his hands on this knife too, because I handed it to him at Blade Show in 2023. But and he was very impressed with the
scale work.
The scale work. He said it was really cool. He said, man, he said, a man's lucky when he has friends this nice, to go out of his way to make him a nice scale for a nice knife. And we sat there and bullshitted with him for about 15 or 20 minutes, and by far was probably one of the most highlights of Blade Show 2023 was just being able to get to meet Raymond and his wife, and some of the other people that he had at the booth. We spent a little bit of time at that booth until it started getting overran, and we respectfully got out of the way.
Yeah.
But 228 versus 229, 228 is the winner all day long. I think if they're not being made here anymore, I can understand why the price is getting out of hand. But if they are being made here now, still, then you may have better luck waiting for one to come out, and drop. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, you look at some of the hinders and stuff like that. Like they disappear immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. This is just my humble opinion. I love both of these knives. Conclusion: I'll take my knife the way it is now. Over the 228, and that's not knocking the 228. Everybody knows how much I love this knife.
Right.
So that's it, Mateo. Thank you again, brother. I will be sending you, if you watch this video, I'll be sending you the 8015 to check out your request, and I'll also be sending that fixed blade. So you guys have a good one, Courtney. You got anything to add?
No, I'm good.
Catch you on the flip side.